Hello and welcome to the video on the very basics of slope. In this video we are not going to talk about the x and y axes at all. We're just talking about graph paper and the concept of slope. The basic definition of slope is rise over run. And really everything that we cover in today's lesson is going to derive from this very simple ratio, rise over run. And when we say rise, we mean go up, and when we say run, we mean move to the right. Now obviously there are negative versions of these, but we'll see that later. Rise over run, going up and then going to the right. So let's take a look at a couple examples. Everything is read left to right because our number line, the x-axis, our number line is read left to right. So as we go uphill, as we read things left to right, this is called a positive slope. And again, if we rise a positive number and run a positive number, positive over a positive, rise over run, will be positive. The alternate is downhill. If we go, as we move left to right, if we go downhill, this will be a negative slope. And again, if we rise a negative amount, in other words, if we fall an amount and then run, negative over a positive, negative rise over a positive run will be a negative number. And there's a couple special cases. These examples are talking about diagonal lines, and what if the line is not diagonal? So if our rise is 0, in other words, we don't rise at all, we just do our run, well, we're going to get a horizontal line, and this is going to have a 0 slope. Again, if we rise 0, 0 divided by any number is 0. So a horizontal line has a 0 slope. Now what if our run is 0? If our run is 0, again, we can rise as much as we want, but we're not going to run. We're going to get a vertical line. This should be pretty straightforward, the comparisons between these two. But be very, very careful here. A lot of people get confused because they don't understand what happens when the run is 0. The slope is undefined. A vertical line has an undefined slope. Let's take a look at that very quickly. If we rise as much as we want, but we run 0, we are dividing by 0. You are not allowed to divide by 0. It is undefined. It is not 0. It's not nothing. It is undefined. So, when we rise 0, get a horizontal line with a 0 slope. When we run 0, we get a vertical line with an undefined slope. Let's take a look at some examples, and we'll actually calculate these. Let's take a look at the pink line. And again, the slope is defined as rise over run. So let's just pick any black dot. Pick any dot. You can pick this dot. How far do we rise to get to this dot? 1, 2, and then we run 1. So this is 2 over 1. Or 2. So the slope of this line, and you can pick any dot. Pick this dot. Rise 1, 2, run 1. Rise 1, 2, run 1. Let's take a look at the green line. What's our slope in this case? Again, our slope is rise over run. Just pick a dot. I'm going to pick the left-hand dot. Rise 1, run 1, 2, 3. So our slope is 1/3. Rise 1, run 1, 2, 3. Let's take a look at this blue line. This is an interesting fraction because to go from any black dot to any other one, we have to rise 2. Rise 2, run 1, 2, 3. Rise 2, 1, 2, run 3. 1, 2, 3. So our slope is 2/3. Now take a look at these examples. The pink, the green, and the blue. I hope you notice what all three of these slopes have in common is they are all positive values. And all these slopes are going uphill. Now what happens is, the bigger the slope, the steeper the line. The smaller the fractional slope, the more gentle the slope. Kind of like a gentle uphill. Like, which would you rather climb if you were, walking uphill? Would you rather climb this slope, or would you rather climb this one? And I hope you see that this is a very gentle slope and that this is getting to be a small fraction. Let's take a look at this orange example. Sometimes negative slopes are confusing. So we just pick a dot. Now how far do we rise? Well, I'm moving downward, so I'm actually rising -1, -2, -3. So I just count 1, 2, 3, and I'm rising -3. That's my rise. And then I run 1. Now what is -3 over 1 better known as? -3. So this orange line has a slope of -3. Rise -3, run 1. Let's take a look at this purple line down here. It's a very steep slope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rise 5, run 1. Rise 5, run 1, or a slope of 5. And I hope you see this slope of 2, the pink line has a slope of 2, just a slope of 5, it's already getting very steep. It is still uphill, positive slope means uphill, but the greater the slope, the steeper the line. And lastly, next let's take a look at this red one. Rise 1, run 1, 2, 3, 4. Rise 1, run 4. And again, this green line had a slope of 1/3. This red line is an even gentler slope. It's an even shallower slope. You'd even be more likely to want to walk up this red slope rather than walking up the green slope. And now let's take a look at a couple special examples. Down here in the orange, we have rise. Well, we're not rising at all. To get from one black point to the other, we are rising 0. And then we're running 2. And I just picked the point 2 arbitrarily. Rise 0, run 2. Rise 0, run 2. Now 0 divided by any number is 0. So a horizontal line has a slope of 0. And lastly, we have this green line. And I hope you see these black dots are not evenly spaced. Let's just start at this black dot. How far do I rise? 1, 2, 3. But then I'm not running. So I'm rising 3, but I'm running 0. Now again, this does not equal 0. This is undefined. And it really doesn't matter what the number is. Here I'm rising 1 and running 0. 1 over 0 is undefined. Really, it doesn't matter how far I run. I could run 2, I could run 1, I could run 3, I could run rise, my apologies. I can rise any distance I want, but I'm always running 0. In this case, the slope is undefined. So that's the basic of slope.